Good morning, everyone. I'm Deputy Inspector Gary Shapiro from the Public Information Office. I want to welcome everybody here for this important press conference. Some quick introductions. To my right, as you all know, our County Executive Edward Mangano. We're also joined by the Minority Leader for the Nassau County Legislature, Abrahams, Police Commissioner Thomas Crumpter, Chief of Department Stephen Skrinecki, Deputy County Executive for Public Safety Chuck Robondo. Got Nassau County Legislators Bynoe, Legislator Carrie Solages. We also have Chief of Patrol Frank Kirby and the Chief of Detectives Kevin Smith. Now again introduce County Executive Edward Mangano.
Thank you, Gary. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning. And we're here to announce our pilot program with respect to body cameras. You know, first and foremost, we're very, very proud of our police. Here in the County of Nassau, crime is down 25%. It's the lowest level since statistics were ever taken. And in part, that is due to the hard work and dedication and training of our police officers, but also because of our nationally recognized intelligent-led policing model, which incorporates the latest technology. As many of you know, last year we launched a dash cam program, which is still under review. And today I join with legislators and our police department, in particular our Minority Leader Abrahams, who expressed a sincere interest in launching a pilot program with respect to body cams. So today we gathered to announce the new body camera pilot program for our Nassau County Police Department. As part of this pilot program, 62 cameras will be assigned to 31 officers from the 1st, 3rd, and 5th precincts. This pilot program will test the latest technology available with the goals of increasing transparency, strengthening officer performance, and improving evidence documentation. We'll be trying and testing a number of technologies from a number of manufacturers during the pilot program. And we anticipate that the pilot program will take about 12 months, and in which time a report will be issued with respect to the findings of both the body cam program and our dash cam program. So thank you very much for joining with us today, and I believe we will hear from our Minority Leader, Legislator Abrahams.
Thank you, Mr. County Executive. First, I want to echo the sentiments of the County Executive. We in the minority, Democratic legislative minority, have the utmost respect for our county police department. There is no one else we would call in this country when you dial 911, and I don't know if any of you have ever been on the other side of making a 911 call. There's no one we can think of, no entity stronger, better than the Nassau County Police Department, which would be there in a heartbeat to make sure that those are in need are getting the care that they need. This level of transparency in our government is also essential. It will make our police department even better. It will add a level of public confidence to those that are in the public, whether they're on the streets. And then also, I believe it will add a degree of confidence to our police officers so that we're able to prosecute the crimes as they're seen on whether it be the dashboard or the body cams. I'll be remiss if I did not mention that our district attorney was, our acting district attorney, Madeline Singas, was a part of an effort that was started by our former district attorney, Kathleen Rice, in the village of Freeport, where I live. And in that village, they were able to administer body cams in a pilot program also, sometime last year, and then took the steps to actually implement it. And Madeline Singas' office, acting district attorney Madeline Singas, I should say, took the steps to do that using asset forfeiture money. And that truly is a testament of strong leadership to be able to get that done. But obviously this is something that has been in the works for quite some time. Looking around, seeing what's happening in our country, I'm proud that the Nassau County Police has not had any incidents that have risen to the occasion of what we're seeing, whether it be in Ferguson or anywhere else or across the country. Again, we have the best police force in the country, and this is an added protection for our police officers and also adds a level of public confidence for our residents. And that's why this measure, though it's in the pilot stages, we would like to see it advance after we get the data back to be able to advance to full implementation. That being said, I'm passing the floor over to our Commissioner, Mr. Thomas Crum.
Good afternoon, good morning actually. Thank you, County Executive Magano, Legislator Abrahams. The Nassau County Police Department is committed to exploring the latest technology, and we're doing that today. We are in the age that this technology is becoming more common as part of the 21st century policing strategies. A police department that deploys body cameras is making a statement that it believes the actions of its officers are a matter of public record. This pilot will enhance the transparency, promote accountability, and advance public safety for our officers and the communities in which they serve. Now that we are in a world in which anyone with a cell phone camera can record video footage, body cameras will give the police point of view. This technology will also ensure that officers are doing their job correctly and appropriately when interacting with the community. During the pilot program, the Nassau County Police Department will listen to feedback that we receive from the participating officers, community, and the elected officials. We will then decide if a full implementation is appropriate and practical in Nassau County. I look forward to working with the county executive and the legislators during this pilot program. Does anybody have any questions?
Commissioner, can you walk us through the policies and procedures you have for the officers that are going to be using these?
The policies and procedures will be implemented and will be fine-tuned over the next 60 days. We expect that on August 1st, we will implement the pilot program, and it will be a 12-month pilot program. The pilot program will select 3 vendors. 2 of the vendors have been selected. The third, we're working out the final details. It'll be Taser International's camera, body camera. It'll be the Panasonic body camera that we are partnering with Motorola and Panasonic. And the third vendor, all 3 vendors will be a cloud-based system where we'll record the data and then upload that data into a cloud system that is based on an evidence, provide for a level of evidence that will withstand judicial scrutiny.
What are the instructions the officers are going to be given in using them?
The officers will be trained prior to the rollout of the cameras, and we expect that training will be for each, for the first phase will be 4 hours, then approximately 1 to 2 hours of training each time the cameras are trained. The officers will use 3 cameras over the course of the year, and the cameras will rotate. As far as the specific policy, we're not going to get into those details today.
Well, under what circumstances will officers use them? Will they use them in every interaction with the public? Can you explain how they'll be used?
We're not going to get specific details on the policy today. We'll be releasing the policy at a later date.
Last time I spoke to the union, police union chief, the PBA chief, he wasn't a big fan of these cameras. So I'm wondering, how are the officers who are going to be using these, how do they feel about them? Have you polled them? And if an officer chooses not to want one of these cameras, can he opt out of it?
No, he won't be able to opt out on it. The officers have not been polled. This is a technology that we're piloting in Nassau County, and it's the position of the department that we have that latitude and authority to implement a policy program. This is technology. It's, germane to the very function of a police officer. A police officer's function is to gather evidence, and this is what we're doing with this pilot program. We are gathering evidence.
Commissioner, 62 cameras and the 31 officers, will it be up to the officer to decide how to use the camera, or will there be a mandatory use of the camera outlined during the training?
The policy that will be, the officers will be trained on will provide very specific guidelines in how the cameras are used and when they're used. There will be a degree of discretion. You can't establish any policy that will actually answer every single question that an officer will face.
Will they be able to turn it off if they want to?
There will be a degree of discretion written into the policy.
Commissioner,
Will these stream live, or you have to upload the information?
The video and Taser, with Taser's camera, you actually have to plug into a docking station. The cameras that are used, Panasonic has the ability to upload the video. They will not be streaming live in real time, though. They'll be uploading the video to a cloud system where it'll be stored.
And what will the public's access be to these cameras? Would it have to be subpoenaed?
The public's access is dictated in a couple of ways. One, under the Freedom of Information Law. So if they would have access to it under that, they would be able to get copies of that FOIL, pursuant to FOIL. Under subpoena, those videos will be overturned. You know, one of the things that we have to look at is just how time-consuming video redaction is, and when we have to redact video. You know, based on conversations with Taser, for every hour of video you redact, it takes 9 to 10 hours. So one of the things that we'll be looking at in the pilot is how demanding and how many people we would need for a department-wide deployment of these systems. This, you know, what we do know, based on conversations with Taser and other departments and, you know, other institutions that have done research on these cameras is it's very, very costly. You know, it's estimated for a department-wide deployment of the system would be $9 to $10 million in salaries and hardware and other maintenance agreements.
Are you getting any negative response from the officers?
It hasn't really been rolled out to the officers, so it's, I think, premature to gauge response. I will tell you that based on what we've seen from other departments that have deployed this is a very favorable response from the officers once it is deployed.
All right, part of this comes down to public trust, right? The public wants to be able to trust the police officers, but if the officers can turn on and off the camera, how can you assure the public that the officer would turn it on in a situation that might make the officer look bad?
Well, two things. The first is related to the public trust. I mean, polls in Nassau County show that the trust for the police officers is overwhelming. And, you know, obviously, we're always looking to improve on that. You know, that's the first thing. The second item is that you couldn't possibly have a system that records for 24 hours a day. Just think about how much video News 12 has and the amount of effort it is to record that. Now envision a police department with close to 2,000 people in uniform, you know, going to be ultimately, theoretically, using this video if the pilot was successful. Think about how much data you would have to store. It would be virtually impossible to store 24 hours of video, and, you know, so it's just not practical. There are times where it's inappropriate to record. Do you think that police officers should be recording a special victim that's just been the victim of a rape? So there are items that clearly should not be recorded. So there has to be a degree of discretion. Should they be reporting children that have been, you know, the victim of a traumatic child abuse? Those are all questions that will be answered in the policy. So there has to be a degree of discretion.
To our legislators, to our legislators, maybe
Wait
a quick question?
I'm sorry, I didn't get to finish. I have another question, Acting Commissioner Hunter. About a year ago, you guys said you would do a pilot program on these body cameras.
Yes, and we're doing that
And
today.
why this long delay and why now?
It's a lot of details that go into this. Body cameras are in its infancy. Car cameras, you know, we engaged in the pilot program, and that's a mature technology. And the reason it took long was to work out those details. There's a lot of legal questions that had to be answered, and we weren't going to rush into a pilot until we were ready and had all those questions answered.
To our legislators, quick question from our legislators. Has there been an outcry from your community for these cameras and from the community members, your constituency? What have they asked? What have they said to you about these cameras, if anything?
I think that, I mean, it's not showing in today, but obviously there are many community members, dozens that have called for more transparency in government. Whether that's what we do in the legislature every single day, or it's in the event in this case with the police department, is adding body cameras to our force. This is a win-win for everybody. I hope that the police union embraces this, encourages this among their officers, and obviously we want to make sure that the community residents have the same balance as well, and that this is a supportive measure. And I echo the same sentiments as the commissioner does. I mean, obviously in cases of rape or child abuse, I would like to think we would give the discretion to police officers to be able to turn it off when they see fit. Again, we're dealing with an entity that we truly believe has the best interest of the public at mind. So from that standpoint, if they take that discretion, we'll take them at their word. None of us in this room could be at every single incident that happens when it happens in this county. And this is definitely a step in the right direction because it will capture a good chunk of what happens at that particular scene.
How much did all of the, the issues going around in Ferguson and other parts of the country in Baltimore have to do, impact your decision to do it here? Did that have much of an impact?
I'm sorry.
Sort of the national climate?
I think I've said that, and I'll repeat it again because it's worth repeating. No, it had nothing to do with Ferguson. This is a modern-day technology. Nassau County is, unlike a lot of communities in America, has a degree of trust that few law enforcement agencies see. You're talking poll results across the board showed overwhelming support and trust in the members of the Nassau County Police Department. And when you look at our relationship with the community, you look at the very core of the community policing in this department, I think it's quite clear. But that doesn't mean we can't improve on that. That doesn't mean that we can't work to improve trust in the community. But overwhelmingly, it's if you look at the polls, it's quite clear that we do enjoy a high degree of trust. Have a good afternoon.
And Mr. Mangetto, I wanted to ask about the $150,000, the funding. Were the vendors vetted under the old process or the proposed process?
Operating funds.
I believe the commissioners should be operating.
Right, but what about the vetting of the vendors? Because I know that you guys are under
You
scrutiny
could
with
ask,
that.
Tom on the vetting process with respect